All right, Wellcasters, today we're talking about what happens when you're so engrossed in technology that you... Hey, yoo-hoo! Girl on the screen talking to you. You're not even listening to me. Look, the internet is cool. It allows you to stay in touch with basically everyone you've ever met, and you can Google random things like, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? But sometimes you need to disconnect. Hey, if you're more concerned with checking Facebook than interacting with people right in front of you, or getting the next level on Temple Run instead of crossing the street safely, it may be time for you to take a slight step back from technology. And no worries, today on Wellcast, we're going to help you do just that. And this episode was suggested by an entire class in San Antonio, Texas. Complete devoted immersion in the newest technology is something that the human race has done for a very long time. For example, did you know that in the 19th century there was a craze sweeping England called kaleidoscopomania? Yeah. According to The Atlantic, people were so mesmerized by their new fancy kaleidoscopes that they were doing whatever the 19th century equivalent was of holding everyone up at a green light. Meep, meep. Sorry. So what makes today different? Well, many young people, teenagers for example, have access to the latest up-to-date tech devices. How many of your friends have smartphones? Odds are, more than half of them. Are you watching this on a smartphone right now? As of 2012, 58% of all kids aged 13 to 17 have a smartphone. In fact, the percentage of American teenagers who own smartphones is greater than the percentage of humans on this earth that own smartphones. And we use the heck out of our smartphones. You always forget to bring up computers. Okay, and our computers, Karen, thank you. Someone get her craft services. A 2012 Forrester study found that consumers spend almost 20 hours a week on the internet, a term that wouldn't even cover things that we do on our phones, like checking Facebook or sending out a tweet. Well, we're going to help you wean off your dependency on technology, starting with just 1 hour a day. Tip 1, schedule periods each day that are designated as tech-free. Give your phone, iPad, or computer to a parent or roommate and tell them not to give it back to you for an hour. Then go do something engaging. Read a book. Go shoot some hoops. Go to an art gallery and enjoy the paintings without Instagramming them. You'd be amazed at the fun you can still have when you're not attached to your device. Tip 2, when you can, do it in person. Do what in person, you ask? Everything. If you're sitting 3 feet from your friend but still texting them, put down your phone, walk over, and have a conversation. If you're in an office, try stretching your legs and having a meeting with your coworker rather than communicating via instant message. Human interaction is good for you. Human beings need to interact with others every once in a while. Tip 3, go outside. We will still be here when you get back. Leave your phones and computers and sonic screwdrivers inside and go do something outdoors. Tip 4, don't fall asleep with your phone. If you sleep with your phone right next to you, it'll give you the temptation to check CNN right before you go to sleep, or check Flipboard, or check your Facebook status, or see who's updating on Instagram. And The Onion always has really silly stuff. Do you guys know about Reddit? I really love Reddit. It's kind of weird. Sorry, I'm gonna put my phone away. And then if you're sleeping with your phone or whatever, and you'll wake up and your phone's right there, you're gonna check your Facebook status again, you're gonna check Instagram again. It's an endless process, and it'll be there when you grab your phone, which should be charging in the living room, not next to your bed. To recap, schedule periods of time each day that are tech-free. Do more things in person. Go outside, and don't sleep with your phone. Don't sleep next to your phone. Don't sleep on your phone. Just keep sleep and phone in 2 separate rooms. Bye, guys.
Hi, I'm Vivian. Welcome to Student Corner.
And I'm Julie.
And today we talk to the school psychologist.
Meet Miss Ockerman.
I'm one of the school psychologists here, and I have been here at Washington Liberty this is my 7th year, but I was also in the old building many years ago. I've been in the county since 1998, and this is a great place to be. To speak to kind of the overlap between counselors and school psychologists. Many people don't even know that there are school psychologists in the building. Your counselor would be your kind of first person that you would talk to, and while we are all mental health professionals, they deal more with the scheduling and helping you with college and things like that. Mine is a little more targeted, I suppose. I usually get called into situations where students are struggling with something in particular, and there may be a concern about some kind of a learning disability or an attention deficit or something. But I also try to make myself available to the general population of students as much as possible. This year, I am responsible for 10th and 12th graders. I tried to keep an open door policy as much as I can. If you come by and my door is closed, I'm probably in a meeting or with another student or something, but please seek me out if I can be of service in any way. I think you'll find that when you come to the counseling office, there are a number of people who would be willing to help you. So if your counselor for whatever reason is not available at some time, then please come by and see me.
Morning, Generals. As we close in on winter break, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the holiday season and all the positives which come with it. But for many, the holidays and winter in general bring with them a cloud of sadness and unmotivating force, an issue that grows more and more prevalent every year with growing depression and mood disorder rates, especially prevalent in teens. This winter depression is known as a phenomenon called seasonal affective disorder. Those suffering from SAD mainly experience fatigue, depression, hopelessness, and social withdrawal, although there are many other encompassing symptoms that one may experience. Scientists believe that this effect is brought on by a lack of sunlight experienced in the winter months. If you or those close to you are seeming down, please reach out to them, and don't be afraid to do the same yourself. As previously mentioned, the holiday season is approaching, and there is no better time to spend time with family and loved ones, to lean on each other for support and look out for one another. Thanks, Generals. Be kind and patient to yourselves. We can do this.
Welcome back to Today in History. I'm your host, Clayton Schneider. This is the second part of a two-part series talking about winter holidays. Alright, so third is Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was created by Dr. Maluna Carnigan after the Watts riots in Los Angeles. It took parts of different harvest celebrations from Africa. It lasts 7 days where they light candles for each day. This year, Kwanzaa will take place on December 28th and end January 1st. Fourth is Boxing Day. Boxing Day takes place on December 26th and started in the Middle Ages, and it was a day where servants were given the day off to visit their families. Servants would traditionally bring boxes to their families as gifts. It was also a day where all the boxes of donations to the church would be opened and given to the people of need. And lastly is Omisoka. Omisoka is the second most important holiday in Japan. It's their New Year's Eve where families gather together and have one last meal before the new year. At midnight, many people go visit shrines and temples to pray for a good new year. Omisoka will take place on December 31st. Well, that's been Today in History, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, Generals. We have a quick three-piece news roundup for you today. A Manhattan jury has found the Trump Organization guilty of criminal tax fraud in a long-term investigation that started back in 2018, with falsified documents and business records leading to a maximum penalty of $1.6 million. An admittedly small number for a case of such stature, yet the real lasting damage we might see will of course be to the Trump brand name and reservations on future dealings. The organization claims former President Trump and his family were unaware of the instances of fraud and falsifications, with the majority of the blame falling squarely on the shoulders of now ex-CFO Alan Wlhstv, who had been with the company as CFO since the year 2000. President Biden, who had recently been praised for his supportive pro-labor stance on rail workers across the country threatening strike for their stifling pay and lack of real paid time off, vacation days, and sick leave, has recently come under fire for only partially seeing the plan which initially made it out of the House of Representatives through fully intact. Biden and Senate legislatures were able to get most of the union management agreed terms approved, yet critically, an implementation of sick days was left out, leaving many rail workers feeling betrayed, made worse by the fact that more centrist Democrats seem to be taking this as a sweeping PR win. Either way, this is likely the last we will hear of potential rail worker strikes until their needs as workers are met. The Georgia Senate election runoff results are out. Democrat Raphael Warnock has beat out Republican Herschel Walker, seeing Democrats expand their margin within the Senate to 51-49, no longer requiring a VP tiebreaker, and raising their room to navigate around more conservative voters within their own party, such as West Virginia's Joe Manchin. This furthers the disappointing red wave midterms predicted by many of the GOP, seeing yet another candidate endorsed by President Trump lose what was initially considered a very winnable race. Thanks, Generals. See you next time.
GTV Politics sat down with school board-elect Bethany Zecker Sutton to discuss her plans for school policy in Arlington and to get to know her better.
Thank you for coming. Could you please introduce yourself for our audience?
Sure. I'm Bethany Zecker Sutton, and I'm a newly elected member of the school board.
Okay. So, first off, I'm kind of curious, why is it important to have a school board that's independent from the county board?
Sure. So I think serving on the school board versus serving on the county board, those are both really big jobs. And the county focuses on a wide range of issues related to how we function in our county, and the school board focuses then on how we function as a school system. And those are both really large agendas with a lot of important priorities and things to do.
Okay. And you were just elected last month. So what are your policy positions? And what do you plan to do differently or the same as your fellow school board members?
Sure. So one of the things that I care about tremendously and that I've been working on for the past couple of years is around student learning, which I think is sort of critical. It's like the most important thing that we have, right, in our schools. And so part of that is around helping everyone just have like high academic outcomes. But another piece of that is really around those students who are not as well served in our schools, where, you know, you look at achievement data, you look at test scores and things like that, and Black and Hispanic students, students with disabilities and English learners always seem to have, to need more support from our system. And that's something I really care about. The other piece that I'll say real quickly is I care a lot about the mental health and well-being of everyone in our community. So I focus on not just students, but also teachers and staff and everyone who has to sort of all be in a good place and feel like they belong in our schools in order to be doing well. So I think it's really important that we always be focusing on and thinking about the health and well-being of everyone in our schools.
Okay. So why did you become involved in local politics? Why did you decide to run?
Sure. So I became involved not in politics, but in my kids' school. So I have a 11th grader at H.B. Woodlawn and an 8th grader at Jefferson Middle School. They both went to Randolph Elementary School from kindergarten through 5th grade. And so I started out just being an involved parent. And from that, I really became interested in the broader issues about how we work as a school system. And so I chair currently the Advisory Council on Teaching and Learning, which is a county-wide advisory council to the school board. And I've been involved with that for the past 4.5 years. So I just got involved in things like that that are sort of bigger picture things about how we work as a system. And that's really where my interest lies.
Okay. Now I have more of a hard-hitting question.
Okay.
We're in the winter, and while the school board doesn't decide on snow days, you kind of have some input for the superintendent. So is your position on snow days more easygoing, or are you a bit more frosty about them?
That's a great question. I like a good snow day, and at the same time, I grew up in Pennsylvania where we had a little more snow, and spent some time in New England where we had even more snow. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I feel a little bit reticent about, like, do we really need a snow day today? On the other hand, I know the DC region has its own persona when it comes to snow and ice, so I'm willing to kind of go with the flow of what the superintendent thinks we should do.
Okay. Easier one now. What's your favorite Arlington restaurant?
Oh gosh, so I do love Guapo's in Shirlington. That's been my recent go-to for Mexican food. And I also recently was at Ruthie's All Day, which is a sort of barbecue place that's on Glebe Road, just south of Route 50. So those are my two go-tos right now.
Okay, cool. And finally, what advice do you have for W&L students?
Oh gosh, you know what? I'm all about balance. So my advice for the students would be, take your academic work seriously, but don't take it so seriously that you don't have balance with other things that you care about in your lives.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming and sitting down with us today.
Thank you.
And that'll be a wrap for interviews with local politicians this year. Once again, I want to thank Matt DeFerranti and Bethany Zecker Sutton for coming to sit down with us, and thank you all for listening. See you next year.